Today, ChillPoint, sponsored by Bayleaf Buddy, your Bayleaf subscription program. Yes, every week Bayleaf Buddy sends you a artisanal selection of bay leaves for your cooking and other bay leaf needs.
Ooh, organically dried. What the hell does that mean?
Through the whispers of the wind.
We're yes.
You know, you're gonna turn around.
The idea that we are unduly influenced by big bay leaf is completely ridiculous.
You're gonna turn around and find out that something called Bayleaf Buddy is gonna end up being another term for weed.
I mean, probably.
Someone is going to subscribe using the Bayleaf Buddy account here on Twitch today.
You could give us some super thanks on the YouTube channel, and that will get you nothing.
To be honest, I didn't actually check to see whether Bayleaf Buddy is an actual website or service. Hey, everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint, which may or may not be sponsored by Bay Leaves, depending on if they want to do that. I don't know if there's like a Bay Leaf marketing board or something.
This current episode is not for unjoke reasons, so that I don't have to worry about how this video gets tagged later.
That's true, yes. For the purposes of sponsorship,
which means we're open to it.
Yes.
Not just for Bayleaf, but definitely not from some places.
It's like white person kombu.
I'm gonna definitely say I don't want us to be sponsored by anything video game related.
What did they put bay leaves in soup because it was like it was kind of thought that's like, okay, you're making this potion on your whatever. You're in your fucking cauldron or whatever, and but if you put this leaf in, it will soak up all the impurities and then you throw it out. Is that really what that was for? Because I've never had it add flavor to soup. Like, I've never tasted anything that was like, oh, I can definitely identify that the bay leaf went in here. So is it more that it was pulling stuff out, like it was reacting with whatever was in the soup to be like, don't worry, I'm gonna take the acid down on that a bit. It's gonna be nice and even.
Look, I'm not Kathleen. I don't have unfiltered bay leaf opinions.
I don't think that's
unless
the
they're about
purpose of bay
Pokemon.
leaves.
I actually like Chikorita as a Pokemon, so get bent everyone else.
Yeah, fresh bay is a little peppery, dried bay. My main experience with bay leaves is getting bay leaves and basil leaves confused. And so I made a curry with a lot of bay leaves in it and didn't take the bay leaves out because I crumbled them up and put them in. It wasn't good.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
That whole basil versus basil thing from Faulty Towers. That was it was a joke where somebody kept, I think it was only one person, but yeah, there was like one episode at least for sure where they kept referring to basil as basil. Somebody was doing that anyway, and he's like, it's not. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about the week's video game news and occasionally spices.
And I hear there was no video game news, so we just get to make everything up now.
It's true.
Spicy.
I don't know.
There was no episode of ChillPoint this week because clearly I've just said that, so there wasn't one.
Holy crap.
You can't find it because there was no news.
Yeah, but the
happened.
idea that if there's no ChillPoint news, or when there's no video game news, we just don't do an episode of ChillPoint instead of doing an episode of ChillPoint anyway, but just like making up things.
Yeah.
Coming up with different news. But
I just think we could just take that week off.
I've never had to make up a single thing ever on ChillPoint.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta stop stomping on my bits, man.
I
don't care if we're married. I will sue for infringement.
I did post. When I was posting the I was like the doc of all the stories and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did say it, like I said, like I was like, I don't know whether it's what happened this week. Maybe everybody's playing Silk Song and Hades 2 and Battlefield 6.
and Pokemon ZA now, and because
not
come out today.
Not ZA, yeah. Well, I guess the games journalists would have been playing.
Journalists would have
been playing it,
and the people who got the leaks and stuff, I assume somehow are also playing it.
Yeah, Unfortunately, there just seemed to be a little thin on the ground of, and to be clear, of course, as we talk about a lot. It's not that there's no news. There's no news of the kind that is interesting to ChillPoint, or there's light on that kind of news. Things are released, updates happen, blah blah blah. But we, in terms of things that we find that are funny to talk about, less so.
Maybe video game news could stand to just be just a touch more funny. So that we have something to actually riff on. I don't know. I don't want it to be too funny because then there's no jokes that we can make in that point.
That's true.
But they should be a little funny.
Well, speaking of things that are a little funny, how about the episode of ChillPoint?
Yeah.
Well, it was little. I mean, no, it wasn't. It was actually a pretty regular-sized episode, to be honest.
The first story we had was talking about the Xbox ROG Ally X. ROG, which, by the way, this laptop is also in Republic of Gamers.
I keep forgetting that ROG stands for Republic of Gamers, and every time I hear it, it sounds like a Gamergate thing.
Nah, I'm pretty sure it was before or.
Oh, I'm sure, but it sounds
separate.
very much like that whole gamers rise up, whatever bullshit.
Yeah,
and it's just no, that's too cringe now.
I did enjoy. And people in the chat or people in the comments and were talking about that the words ROG Xbox Ally X are the words that are in the title. The words that are in the name of this thing.
That is the salad that comprises the model. Yes.
But what order those words go in, I think Graham did them in multiple different orders. Over the course.
Okay. So don't expect us to do any better.
But anyway, that's this new portable gaming device that is, it's basically positioned as a more fancier Steam Deck.
Well, then I would imagine that it must run like a fucking top. It must be the finest designed on the planet portable gaming system. It must be just absolutely top tier.
I mean,
I hate it when you do sarcasm. It's always so.
Look, I'm opening a door for discussion.
Are you?
It is. I think it is one of, if not the most powerful portable gaming system that has come out in recent times.
Which is an Xbox. Which is also an Xbox?
No.
Yes. It is not an Xbox.
It's not an Xbox.
It is a Windows PC.
When you go buy your ROG Ally X Xbox whatevers, when I guess the stereotype is when your grandmother goes and buys this for your kids for Christmas, and then they also buy the 6 console Xbox games that definitely don't go with it.
So it occupies a space where it is for that form factor, the Switch-alike form factor, right?
Yeah.
That it's I am the best Windows PC in this form factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically trying to occupy the same spot. It's as a more powerful Steam Deck. Now, it's a little different in that, so one, it's running Windows instead of Linux. So the Steam Deck runs a customized Linux, the SteamOS, which is positive and negative. SteamOS, the advantage to it is it's very light on resources.
Yeah, just the bits you need.
But the disadvantage is that it's a Linux system, which means that a lot of the games on Steam are not Linux compatible. So there is emulation or not a virtualization layer. I think it's not quite emulation.
It's essentially like running Wine on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it
stuff still has to be listed
new
as
version of that.
Steam Deck compatible.
compatibility layer. Yeah. Wine with more.
Which I've come to understand that not all games are compatible, and not all games that list that they are compatible work as well as you think they should.
Right. And then, so the advantage to this, so this is running real Windows, except it's got a different, I think it is effectively Windows 11, but it's got a different sort of UI over top of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can mess with it and actually just go and have it back to Windows if you want, I believe.
The desktop is always going to be part of the...
But there is it does have like a Steam Deck, it's got a gaming focused UI that it overlays things with. The disadvantage to it is that because it's running Windows, it can run any Windows games you want to do,
Yes.
and it's not limited to just Steam stuff. It can run, stuff from the Epic Store or from GOG or whatever. You can hack the Steam Deck to do that as well.
Right.
But this is a little more convenient. The disadvantage is that Windows 11 is a lot heavier in operating system. So the device itself is substantially more powerful than a Steam Deck,
Right.
but you don't get as much of that advantage as you would think because the operating system is also a bit of a beast.
So the there has the I'm trying to think about what direction I want to go in here.
There's so many to choose from.
A couple, right? Like, I mean, the first one off the top of my head is essentially that it's like this form factor, it being ultimately a Windows PC, but it is also an appliance.
Yeah.
Like let's be fair about that. And when I say things like that, like people will talk about cars, like certain cars are, for car enthusiasts, but certain cars are driving appliances. They're things that are like you have one big dial that tells you your speed and maybe some idiot lights or whatever.
Yeah,
and you have a couple interface things and that's it. And it's like, no, this is meant to occupy that appliance category of I go from point A to point B. I go from beginning to game to end of game, and I have joysticks and that's all I get to do with this thing. It is not a full-blown Windows PC all in one hardware form.
Yeah, I mean it's not upgradable.
I can't write an essay on it.
You could.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't, right?
As long as you can write it with
a joystick and pressing the A button. Yes, exactly.
I mean, I think you can probably plug it's probably got like USB ports and stuff. You could plug keyboards and things.
Yeah, like part
if you
of
really
the Steam Deck thing is if you really wanted to, that you could plug it in and act like it's a PC kind of thing and do things like that.
Right.
I don't know why anyone would, but
would be a very inefficient thing.
Yes. But it's also like you can also modify a Toyota Corolla to give it 600 horsepower if you want to. If you really wanted to, if you really got into it, you could do that kind of thing. And I'm like, right, that's not the point of what the Toyota Corolla was supposed to be about. And that's this thing too. It's like you can do these extra things if you wanted to, but what the point of this thing is I'm meant to be something that you will open up, see the interface, buy a game, and then play a game on it. That's what its raison d'etre is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is, and it's basically trying to be a console.
Yeah.
And of course, part of the story is the confusion in that it is called the ROG Xbox, which, and as lots of folks have said, the ROG Ally thing has actually been a thing for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
This is merely the latest version of the ROG of this form factor.
Right.
And this is the first one that's been co-branded with Xbox.
Right. And the fact that they buried the word Xbox in the middle of the name ROG Xbox Ally X, yeah, is kind of unusual because of the ROG Ally has always been like a branding thing that Asus has used. Putting Xbox now in the middle feels like, well, now that's breaking that up. Like you want that to be something.
Now and so there's this interesting aspect where it's got Xbox in the name, but it is not an Xbox. Xbox. In the
But I
sense
thought
that
everything was an Xbox now, according to their advertising.
it does not play games that. So if the confusion, or part of the confusion, is that Microsoft is using the word Xbox for a lot of different things right now. But they have, so there's something called Xbox Anywhere, which is basically Microsoft's thing where if you buy a game on Xbox, you will also get it for Windows.
Right.
If it's available on Windows, I'm
If it's available on Windows. And the vast majority of Xbox games are also available on Windows.
Yeah, I mean, that would
Not
make
all
sense,
of them,
right?
but a lot of them. And the majority of Xbox games that are available on Windows are available with this Play Anywhere, Xbox Anywhere program. So a lot of games that work on Xbox will work on this thing. But there's some important distinctions, right? So it's for one thing, if you have like say an Xbox Series X can play Xbox One X and like the older consoles.
360 and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, it can play those games in compatibility modes and stuff, which has never been a thing that you could do on Windows PC, and which means that you won't be able to do that on this device. And then also there are a certain amount of games that just never made they never actually made PC versions of them, so can't do it. So it's not a one-to-one. A lot of games, but not all the games, and they're obviously just kind of confusing issue, and including some of the actual like mainstream reporting on this thing has gotten that aspect wrong, saying it plays Xbox games.
Yeah,
So,
that was
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. They said Xbox. They specifically said Xbox console games.
It was funny. Not only can it play Xbox console games, it can also, I'm like, whoa, that should have literally been in your PR packet you received with this thing to not to be like, it only plays this.
Yeah. So anyway, it is, and then there's this other aspect where, so like we sort of briefly mentioned, but there's the X version, the Ally X, and there's the regular Ally. The regular Ally version is about $600, I think.
Right.
And in terms of power level, it is a little bit above where the Steam Deck is. But again, you're running it on Windows, so there's a downside there too. So in terms of performance, it's not that much better than a Steam Deck, but it's a little more expensive. The Ally X is the $1,000 one, which is a substantial upgrade in terms of performance, but it's also $1,000 for a console, which, everybody complaining about the
Price of the Switch 2?
The price of the Switch 2, it's not looking so bad now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
there's
let's look back at Xbox, though. They did the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. One meant to be a much cheaper thing. That
slightly lower power.
If people who just wanted to play games could do that, but like we had the more maxed out version for people who were much more into that idea. And their whole promise was, oh, well, all games will be on both, which I think they've stuck to so far, but it's still
Mostly.
like kind of hit them hard in some degrees, and they've had to make compromises on that, right? Because of course they've had.
But now that the whole concept of what an Xbox is starting to become fuzzy, I'm assuming that will not maintain for too much longer.
I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped doing consoles specifically that they make, because like the Rogue Ally isn't like, they're not really making it so much as they're branding it.
Right, exactly. It's an Asus device.
Pivoting Xbox into what could almost feel like a subsidiary of Microsoft, to be like, Xbox is our gaming brand, as opposed to Xbox is the thing that we make to put games on.
Right. And they've been trying to do that pivot for a while.
Yeah.
Like Xbox on Windows has been a thing for a few years now.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really got the traction.
Well, it doesn't help that your brand is literally a physical thing. Like, it has the word box in it.
Right.
Right? Like,
good point, yeah.
Nintendo and Sony are two... They're not nonsense words, but to the point of what they are words that are not like a thing. They are an amorphous name, right? And so you can say that, oh yeah, like back in the day, I played this thing on my Nintendo, and I'm like, right. We all, like in North America, we were all doing that. Over in Japan, they were saying I played this thing on my Famicom, which is a family computer and referred to the family computer specifically, but everyone knew Famicom meant that thing that you had in your house. And you didn't have that kind of, I don't want to say, it's not brand saturation, but it is a kind of overloading that that Microsoft's seeing with Xbox right now. And when the Game Boy comes out for Nintendo, or when the Super Nintendo comes out, it's like, oh, it's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Everyone just calls it Super Nintendo or whatever. The Nintendo 64, like, it was still like, we're kind of baking extra modifiers into that, yes, but it's, as time goes on with what Nintendo was doing, it was always different names, but it was like, it was never, this is a physical object. I think maybe until like the GameCube, because a cube is a physical object, and you can kind of picture that that's what that thing is. And the PlayStation is like PlayStation. The only problem that Sony, I think, ran into with PlayStation is when we started to get into things like the PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation TV and the PlayStation Portal and the PlayStation, like when they try to like
they're still trying to use the branding of PlayStation, but for kind of ancillary products,
and trying to think about, well, is this my PlayStation? It's like, well, it's not the PlayStation. It's something very different than that. And what is it? What is a PlayStation TV versus a PlayStation Vita? And like, what are all these? And it's like, that gets a little weird too, because you kind of established PlayStation, yes, as a brand, but also as a physical object, because you're making version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, like, over time. And I think Xbox is running into this problem of like, when I think Xbox, I think a literal box, that whether it has an X on it or not, but it is like, it's a literal box on which games are played.
Yeah.
And so it is weird to me when it's like Xbox Game Pass, which can be played anywhere. I'm like, oh, right, that's not a box, is it? It's not. That's different now. And now we're just seeing, this is just a straight up Windows PC that has the word Xbox applied to it. Oh, that's going to be trouble.
Xbox is just the gaming brand of Microsoft.
Yeah. And if they can overcome that, because they decide they don't want to make consoles anymore, they just want to be like, we just would rather have anybody who makes a Windows PC or or let Asus occupy that territory, have 3 or 4 different manufacturers who all have a right to make Xboxes.
I mean, obviously, Microsoft is very comfortable with having third-party suppliers doing hardware. That's something that they've had in place for many, many years.
It will be interesting if what they will just end up doing is being like, okay, we've decided this thing can be an Xbox, or this thing passes the Xbox compatibility thing, and you get a sticker that you can put on your box, or you can write the word Xbox after it now, so people know what it is and what it can do. And it's an Alienware PC, but it has an Xbox sticker on it now for some reason.
I think one of the big advantages that the Steam Deck has, I mean, obviously, is that it's being backed by Steam, the biggest, but it's also, Valve has been pretty conservative about having different models of Steam Deck, which means that they can have that sort of Steam Deck compatibility thing, which gives people, the idea, this, back to the sort of console thing, it gives developers and consumers a fixed target to hit, which, Microsoft has never been that good at doing. But anyway, the second part of the story, of course, is talking about the Copper Age update in Minecraft.
I thought they had copper in Minecraft already.
They did. They had copper, but there was nothing to do with it.
Was it just what?
We got shit like that on Earth, I think.
That happens a lot in Minecraft. Like, they build, like they add different things, or things were added often like very early on in the Minecraft development process because somebody wanted to add it.
Okay.
But then there's no tech tree involving that item.
Right.
It's just a thing. And some people use it for like decoration, but there isn't actually like a whole thing to do with it. But now they've added a whole bunch of stuff to do it. And I believe I remember reading an article about this a couple weeks ago when they're talking about this update. I think this was like one of the people at Mojang had this like, bee in his bonnet about that. Why can't we do anything with this copper? I've got so much goddamn copper.
Right. I mean, I would love it though. Also, does it? People say, "Oh, let it oxidize," and I'm like, "Yes," but does it oxidize in game?
It does.
Nice. So get a nice.
It turns green.
You can get beautiful green roofs on the lid of your Parliament building.
But then you. So not only can you make these cool little golem dudes who like run around and they'll like lift stuff, take stuff from boxes and put them in other things. They also have like a full like you can make copper swords and shields.
I have a very important question.
Pickaxes and so forth.
Can the little golem dudes, say, punch a chunk?
Oh,
I don't know if they can actually destroy blocks and things. I believe they only like move things around.
If they can, we don't need James anymore. We can what we can do is we can make a bunch of little golems. We can name one James, and we can have them race.
Yeah.
And then we just watch.
Which one punches a chunk faster? Yeah.
Oh no, the golem's gonna take his job.
That's right. We'll let the AI do it.
Like someone's got to guard that mine, and it doesn't have to be him.
The golems yearn for the mines.
The important thing about this story is that this is entirely the sort of lead into the story is entirely true. That both of Nellie's kids are big into Minecraft, and one of his older kids suggested doing a story about this, and his other kid had so. He wanted it very clear that one kid suggested the story. The other kid is the one who is making their own giant copper golem in order to live in.
Yeah.
Right.
In Minecraft.
Good.
One wants a story written. The other one too busy playing a game to care.
Yeah. But anyway.
But better credit both of them, or else or else there will be schisms within the Nelson's household.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a me problem.
No, it does not.
Anyway, let's move on to something else involving technology that maybe we shouldn't have accessed, like copper. It's too powerful. BioShock
is a thing.
Yeah,
happening.
Well,
working on
possibly.
something maybe.
There was a new BioShock game, or a BioShock game was announced to be in development in 2019 when 2K Games started up a company called Cloud Chamber.
Right.
Which, as Graham pointed out, their logo is not a cloud chamber.
Nope.
Yeah, many people in the comments pointed out you can't just draw neutrinos.
But its name is not a cloud chamber, or its logo is not a cloud chamber. But yes, also Graham was incorrect in that neutrinos are not one of the things that actually show up in a cloud chamber. But anyway, so they formed the studio in 2019, but at that time, it was also announced that they had been working on a BioShock game since 2014. And now apparently that BioShock game has failed some sort of internal review, which, I mean, I remember what I was talking about. I think might have been Battlefield, or it was talking about, we were looking at a story maybe a month or two ago, about talking about like how Activision, I think it was, has its like internal review, this sort of gating process,
right?
Where it's like,
have you cleared this milestone?
It's like, have you cleared this milestone? It's got to have this, and if it doesn't, then we've got a problem. And having that as sort of a check on, which I think is a good idea, probably to be like a check on the sort of, are we going way off on a tangent on this game?
Yeah.
Do we know what we actually are doing?
How completely off the rails has everyone gone? Are they just playing ping pong and drinking craft beers? Like,
so apparently
back in the heyday, that's how you did game development, apparently.
And apparently BioShock, this new BioShock game failed one of those, which is not so good. And so, so they're going to be changing. The leadership has changing. They bring in Rod Ferguson, the closer. Apparently that's what he's good at, shipping games, which, like that is not nothing. Apparently he worked on a bunch of games that were sort of, and I remember, I've read lots of stories about like movie directors that are kind of in that same realm.
Yeah.
Where there's like, there'll be a movie that's like stuck in development hell.
Yeah.
And there's particular directors who are like, they know how to deal with the studio system. They're not necessarily the most amazing creative, guys, but they'll get your movie done.
Yeah. So like when you hear terms like, oh, the closer and whatever, I feel like it's really easy to think of like this really negative hard ass of a human being.
No.
But most of the time when you bring in a person, it's because for whatever reason, maybe the group of people who are working, like maybe there's something going on, they can't get a handle on it, stuff's just constantly blocking, and you bring in a new person. Generally it's because they're incredibly organized, they can see a bunch of stuff because they're not at ground level anymore like everybody else is now, or maybe they also have connections that allow them to bypass certain things that are an issue, or
just they know how to handle the situation. Often, I mean, this isn't the case in this situation, but like there's often, I know, again, with like on movie directors and stuff, you'll have like really amazing auteur directors that have a vision, but just can't work with, they don't know how to work with really famous actors or whatever.
Right.
Like there's there's all sorts of different skills. Sometimes it works, sometimes. Anyway. So, and then in addition to they're also reducing the size of the development team to focus the work and give the game more time in development. That's one of those things where it's like, it's behind, so you're reducing the team. Okay.
Well, okay.
But then it's to give it more time in development. I can kind of see that like we've got X amount of budget on this.
I think sometimes, I mean, it'll be a budgetary thing, but I think also sometimes there's a thing that happens. It's scope creep in a sense. It's
right.
You have a project going on. Something else needs to happen, so somebody else just joins in to work on that, and like in a weird way, you kind of throwing more people at a problem does not always solve a problem, right? So sometimes pulling that back to refocus can be a good thing. It always sounds like a bad thing when it comes to video game industry stuff, because the thing we hear about when you pull back on teams or layoffs or like are about making your bottom line bigger and better and not like helping. Now,
of course, we hope that this is people being transferred, not people being laid off. We don't know, but so yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, I've been a big fan of the BioShock series. I quite enjoyed it. Although I feel like I thought I saw one or two people in the comments, who are fans of BioShock being like, I don't know, like
I haven't been hankering for it.
And it's like after BioShock Infinite kind of, and like BioShock 2 and then BioShock Infinite, which sort of opened up this like thing of the multiverse and things.
Oh, sure.
It's like the story, like there doesn't seem like there's that much point to continuing with the story.
Lennon, I haven't played the games, right? But it is like you do one of a couple of things, and maybe I'm pulling more on like how I think about Legend of Zelda for this, but it's like you either say, well, I can make a sequel to what's going on in this place that we can say we can, and that can be something like Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks, kind of being like these three things are somewhat related to each other, but they are distantly related. Like the distances are different in terms of time period or whatever, but it's like there is some distance between the three. It's not all the same link, that kind of idea. Or then you say, well, we're going to release a new Legend of Zelda, and it's going to be Twilight Princess, right? And it's like, what the hell? Where does this fit into anything? And it's like, ignoring the timeline for a minute.
Yeah.
But it's like, this thing is meant to be this, and it's we're
it's
imagining
more of like a vibe thing.
Yeah, more like a vibe, and it's kind of like, so you could fall into that with BioShock, where you're like BioShock and BioShock 2. BioShock 2 directly following that, BioShock Infinite fitting in wherever it needs to fit in order to...
Yeah, BioShock Infinite is more of a, like, different, it's like a, the whatever, Twilight Princess versus Majora's Mask. Like, it's a different story that has similar vibes.
Right, it fits into the universe in a way, but...
Same universe, but different character kind of thing.
And I'm going to end up drawing this all back to Fallout, actually, in a second.
Whether it's the same universe is also debatable.
Yeah. But I'm like, if you have a big enough world, you have a big enough place to tell different stories that fit into the same kind of world. And if that's what this new BioShock game is, like, oh, it's another focus on the world and the technology and because that's the thing when we play a lot of sci-fi games, is that the world setting is one thing, but the technology is also the other thing that has to go with that world. That it's like, what is unique and unusual about mechanics and
it's also, in the time since BioShock, we've had Dishonored,
right,
and we've had like Atomic Heart, which was kind of mediocre.
Right,
Dishonored was great. We've had some other games with similar vibes,
right,
by other developers, even if they were different types of games. So, like, we're not too starved on that. Like, BioShock was quite neat and innovative and cool looking when it came out, but we've had that kind of stuff now.
And maybe what this game is a more of a thoughtful reboot. Could be that we don't know anything about it, right?
It's
but
true.
It's like, what if they decide that that's how they want to take the game in the future? Is to be like, what if we do essentially a not a remake of the original game, but literally a reboot of what this setting is like and who are the people at the core of it, like those kind of ideas.
I've never played BioShock, and I know very little about it.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is brand name recognition, franchises and such have some really upsides, which is why they like to use them over and over again. It's why they make new Zelda games as opposed to just new fantasy adventure.
Green Hat Guy.
Yeah, Green Hat Guy comes back. It's all about that brand recognition and that idea of, I know when I get this kind of game, I know kind of what I'm getting already. Yeah. So I'm already bought in and that kind of thing. Some of it's not really franchising, though. Sometimes it's actual just sequels. It's continuing of a storyline or specific world setting or whatever. But at the same time, if BioShock is more like Zelda in the sense of like, oh, it's just kind of a mechanical thing, there is a point where people tire of the same mechanics. It's a known quantity.
Yeah.
Is now working maybe not in their favor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
and it might be okay for that to go away for a while and not be a thing, but that's going to be why they're going to want to make a new BioShock game, right? It's the idea that people really liked at least one of these games at one point.
I could definitely see a BioShock reboot being a thing. Or it could, I mean...
I would love reboot to do BioShock, yes.
With the way that the multiversal works from BioShock Infinite, you could even sort of basically reboot it within canon if you really wanted to.
Right. And that I think about, I don't know a lot about Fallout, but having...
enough.
And I think I know, like, I'm learning enough through osmosis and stuff as well, but it's like how that game changed over the course of several sequels and other positioning, and then also getting a TV series that is electing to try to tell a story that lifts a lot of elements from all of the different games. So it's that the TV show then trying to be a cohesive unit for a lot of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And like the bulk of my exposure to Fallout being Fallout Shelter and then Fallout the game and then like the first game, post-nuclear, whatever. Anyway, but then and then the TV show, and it's like those are really weird places to pick up your knowledge of what goes on in that universe. But in a way, when I watch the show or when I play the old game or whatever, I'm like, I see how these threads all kind of intertwine, and that the evolution of like what you want to concentrate on or what you want to try to tell a story with, and the fact that then I hear about, oh yeah, all the Fallouts are happening in different places. Like Fallout New Vegas is in New Vegas, and Fallout 4 I think is in like the Commonwealth, and it's like,
and they've sort of they figured out, because information and communication in the Fallout world isn't very good.
yeah,
They can, all they have to do to make a new Fallout game is set it somewhere they haven't set it already.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then and they can then do whatever they want.
That was one of the more interesting things when we watched the Fallout TV series, because it's the only Fallout thing I've paid attention to.
yeah.
The discussion of, oh, well, what is this place like in such and such place? Because how did the culture change that? How did this do whatever?
Yeah.
Is actually an interesting thing to think about. So in that case, I'm like, I could totally see different Fallout games being in different settings sounding very exciting.
Yeah, like the retrofuturism of the era already means that there's some stuff which is weird, like having atomic cars and stuff like that. But then there are people who are like fans making Fallout London,
Right.
for London, UK, and I'm like, well, that would also be different because gun culture in the United Kingdom is not as big as it is in the United States, which means if you're scrounging for weaponry, you're really scrounging for weaponry because they're not going to have the same kind of penetration of stuff back then.
But then again, it's alternate future, so who knows?
So who knows what might have happened back then? So it's
suppose-
like, yeah, there's room, I think, for BioShock to also play in the space of what if we change the rules of how this works, especially if you have a multiverse.
I do want to be sure I understand this. BioShock is a first-person shooter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is an objectivist nightmare.
I think I keep confusing it with a different game that...
System Shock.
Yes, that's the one.
When it first came out, there was a lot of
there's another game that sounds similar, but also has like a different.
System Shock is also a
thing.
first-person game, but it's like an RPG.
Yeah. I think that's the one I keep thinking it as, which is why I get so confused whenever BioShock actually comes up.
Let's move on to this. Now, not to to this interview from Sheep Esports, which, by the way, kind of telling on themselves with that with the name of the. Oh yeah, this is the esports news website for sheep.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's supposed to be like they're following along. They don't do very. They're not
Is
really.
Is that bad?
Are they journalism wolves? Are there? Is it we just do what we're told?
What, wolves in sheep clothing?
We can be
Something like that.
easily led. I don't know.
Anyway.
We're not saying anything one way or the other.
I don't know. I haven't actually looked at that site. So
yeah. So anyway, there is an interview with the music director for Riot Games, and I mostly sort of marked this as an interesting story. Not music director, global head of music.
Mm-hmm.
I marked this as a story mostly because there are just some of these sort of wild statements in this interview, which I think Cameron talked about, or Graham was mentioning. We were talking about, like, it seems like an interview that maybe it was like they recorded the interview and then got like an AI transcription of the interview and then just posted that. Because the text of the interview was kind of weird and like like it doesn't seem like it has been edited at all, shall we say.
The modern thing of we want to capture every little and ah and what I'm doing right now, where you spin off to another part of the sentence, where it's like in speech we can do that, where we can say, I'm saying this thing, and all of a sudden, wait, I had thought of a better way to say that, so you start saying that instead, and it's like, right. In a completely transcribed interview, you're going to see that. But in human speech, we're going to see the pauses, the stumbles, the I'm going to start again. And then if you try to write all that down, it looks like the person's just like losing their mind.
And then the person comes on, as which I saw a couple people liking the gear down, big rig. Because the person has, we have two of the best IPs in the world. You can really go deep on one character like Jinx, and there are still over 160 others that you haven't explored. It's an incredible multi-generational 100-year IP that could go on forever because it's so deep and well crafted.
A 100-year IP that goes on forever, which means that's how much time we have left, ladies and gentlemen.
I do feel like even the most
seems generous, honestly.
The most hardcore League of Legends fan might probably would admit that not all 160 of those characters are
the kind you want to go deep with,
or as fleshed out and have as much potential than as some of the other ones. But also this interesting it's like a Pandora's box full of incredible corners, characters, and worlds, which is an interesting, that's one of those interesting, and Cameron locked into that particular statement.
Yeah.
And it is one of those interesting, and a couple people in the comments were sort of talked about that, not necessarily saying Cameron was wrong or right or either that, but just sort of talking about it, and this interesting idea that depending on your particular education and your how you've been exposed to some of these things, if your only exposure to the concept of Pandora's box is like
Pandora had a box,
or is from other video games, then maybe you wouldn't actually know, and you don't actually know like what it's supposed to be about.
Right.
Maybe it does just seem like, a box full of stuff.
There is plenty of language we use that you hear repetitively, but doesn't really have enough context around it necessarily, or doesn't convey all the context because you're supposed to provide that context yourself by having that knowledge beforehand, so that when someone says, oh, it's like Pandora's box, you're like, right, all the evils of the world and blah, 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 you already know. But if you are actually just around people who are constantly being like, oh yeah, Pandora's box, and not giving that additional context, and you never find out, then yeah, that would technically be a thing you can do.
It's the things you hear in passing.
I believe there was a shoulder graphic used to show that they had an item or something as well. So like, if you want to try to be like a generous read about it, you could be like, oh, they're trying to be clever by using a thing that's in the game as a descriptor.
Except that the thing in the game isn't actually what Pandora's box is either.
And that's true of a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Like they're just because a lot of video game items aren't necessarily trying to use the item name to be like, oh, this is exactly what you think of when you think of this. It's more of, oh, did we do a thing about
just
mythology? Then I guess we should name everything after mythology, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
it is
cornucopia
always,
would have been a much better word.
Yeah. But it is always funny to hear, and you my favorite, I became like mildly obsessed with a political cartoon or quite a few years ago that was made by a very right-wing cartoonist.
I'm going to assume Ben Garrison, but anyway.
I think it might have been,
yeah. Because
that was of Trump jousting with windmills, and then the windmills had like the deficit and like Democrats and all this stuff.
I mean, he'd go after actual windmills.
And
very Don Quixote, yes.
Well, yeah. And so it had this like, the number of levels that it was acting on, some of which I'm pretty sure the cartoonist didn't really think about.
Yep.
I found just fascinating because it was like, yes, it's like, one, Donald Trump doesn't like windmills.
Yep.
Just period.
Yep.
Two, it's like, he's the guy fighting against these bad things.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like probably where the cartoonist was at.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this additional level of, if you ever know the story of Don Quixote, he's actually a delusional.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's fighting these
giants,
but they're actually windmills. So it's actually not complimentary.
It's literally the phrase tilting at windmills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's just so funny too, because it's like, it also is these are very tell on yourself moments when you're like, you're trying to use a piece, you're trying to speak using shared terms known throughout the culture, not even popular culture, right? Like by this point, they have been imbued into culture as idioms, right? You're not just mentioning like, oh, it's like, Mario picking up a fire flower would be like a popular culture thing even at this point, even though it's been around for 40 years. But it's like, no, this is literature. Like these are the things, this is mythology from hundreds of years ago, Pandora's box, we're talking about, Don Quixote or whatever. It's like, whenever you do stuff like that, the vast majority of people have heard that term, and they think they either know what it means or they think they know what it means based on how they contextually picked it up, like you mentioned, right? And it's like, right, if all you know about that is like when you read the word paradigm, because you've never heard it spoken out loud, right?
It's a Pokemon, isn't it?
Paradigm, yeah.
Right? When you hear that word, or when you hear it for the first time, you're like, is that how it's actually pronounced? But you've read it, and you think you know what it means because you're inferring it through context. And it's like, there's only so far that context can carry you, and then you actually need to know what something means.
And that's the thing, because like literature, popular culture, these things also get referenced in a lot of our entertainment and
but it's shorthand.
A lot of people heard classical music because they watched Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
And they think of it as Bugs Bunny music.
Yes, that's
right.
right.
Actually a thing.
Looney Tunes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So and a lot of those shows would do references to fables and stories like Pandora's box, and they might not show you the whole story, or they'll show you the basic beats of the story, because generally those stories have way more going on in them that most of us don't know about because we didn't read the original.
Yeah, but sometimes it's good as a comedic shorthand, and I mean, like bringing up Looney Tunes as an example too, right? That it's like, if you watch that, there's so much that goes on in Looney Tunes cartoons that are references to things that are shorthand that the people of the time would have understood and that we only get at face value. And then you're trying to understand what that shit means. And you have to be in like high school or greater to actually be like, oh, I get the joke. Why? Because all the guys writing it were all guys who'd graduated from high school at this point or had gone on to college, and they all learned all these things because of the way that education was working. And it's like, that is not the same thing anymore, but your cartoons persist.
For us, it's not a reference anymore. For us, it's a meme.
Yeah, it's, yes.
It is. It's just a repetition of a thing that we don't know where it even comes from.
And it feels, and at that point it starts to feel like this is original content. And it's like, it is not. It is a reference back to something. It might even be 3 references deep for all we know.
Like when we were watching Jack Frost with the MST3K thing the other night, the reason I went to look up the story is because we're watching a dubbed version. And I'm like, okay, well, immediately.
What have they fucked up?
What is this story actually based off? Oh, it's based off this fable. Weird. This fable doesn't have like half of what they're putting in here. So this movie probably is also combining a bunch of other stuff for the original fable because they had to make a feature-length movie for this story, right?
Yeah.
Like, and already that has changed drastically what that original story is on the first step, never mind the 6 other steps removed from
and there's lots of other movies, especially MST3K did that a lot, where they picked up a lot of movies that got dubs that were they were usually like Finnish in origin or Russo-Finnish or whatever, but they'd get these stories that were like, oh, this is about this guy, his name is this. They're like, we're just going to fucking call him Sinbad.
Right.
You know, and that's going to be a new Sinbad story. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And it's like, that's what this is now. And it's like, right, you're going to completely mischaracterize everything going on here because you're like, I'm just trying to dub it to make some money. I don't give a crap about where it comes from, thus muddying the waters of myth. Because you're not willing to tell the original myth. You have to tell some other story.
I saw a neat video the other day, just recently, talking about the movie Grease and how it's a parody of 50s of those kinds
50s
of
culture.
50s high school movies that came out in the 80s or whenever it came out.
It was, I think, very late 70s when Grease was made.
It's supposed to be a satire, but the movies that it's satirizing, nobody has seen.
Yes.
So people think that it's actually serious.
Yep. And that's why certain movies really only play at their height when they come out.
Right.
Because you need to be kind of in the moment.
Well, that's
to
like,
get all of the understanding.
Star Wars is literally like that. Star Wars is a massive
Wars is
pastiche.
So fucking boring.
It's such a massive pastiche of a whole bunch of different things. And if you didn't have, it's like, and Kill Bill was the same way, right? It's like if you have Tarantino's knowledge of all the kind of like, do we call them kung fu exploitation? The chopsaki films? Like,
I don't know.
The genre that we got in America, right? Where like in English speaking, whatever. It's like if you have that kind of knowledge of that stuff, and then you go watch the originals, you're like, oh, it was actually like this, and then you use your combined knowledge to make a film that is itself a pastiche of all that stuff. Then it's like, right. But to somebody walking into the theater for the first time, watching that, you're like, that's just what that is. That's just what the genre is, and you're like, it isn't. And it's more fun when you know the things that people are talking about. It's more fun to be media savvy because then you get to know all the things.
And Westerns themselves are like weirdly soap operas.
Yeah.
Apparently. I was reading up on
morality tales.
I was reading up on soap operas, and like our modern day soap operas actually come from like old Westerns.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line.
Cool. I did not know that. That's really cool.
Well, speaking of things
story, right?
on that go on a strange direction, hey, it's Sonic, and there is a new sidekick voice for the Waze app that is Sonic. Now, as people pointed out, sidekicks in the Waze app are not a new thing.
They are not.
This is something that they've been doing for a while. These sort of celebrity or famous character sidekicks.
This was even when you had discrete GPS units. This was a thing that was happening for like TomTom and Magellan. They would have like Stephen Fry come in and do all the reads. Yeah.
But it's just I was wondering, like, I feel like even if they have those, do they have other ones that are like race car drivers, or it seems like somebody whose whole thing is going fast,
right? Yeah.
So
maybe is not not the voice that you want to be directing people in traffic.
I assume your choice of voice has less to do with like, oh, are they a safe driver, or do they drive professionally, and more along the lines of like, are they popular celebrity that we can get for not like extravagant amounts of money. Like I would actually think that some romantasy novel VAs would probably go over really well.
Oh yeah,
for certain demographics of driver.
I mean, but it's not just that Sonic, is known for going fast. The catchphrases that Sonic has are all about going fast.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that you want to have in the thing. Like if you got like a professional race car driver or something, Dale Earnhardt or whoever.
Yeah. Gilles Villeneuve.
It'll be fun, to have him as your thing. Sure, that's fine. He's not known for. He's known for being a very good race car driver
and always turning left. Yeah.
But his recognizable lines aren't "gotta go fast all the time."
No.
Speed.
Yeah. Speed, intensity, volume, power.
I guess Lightning McQueen, I Am Speed.
I mean, that'd be funny if you got Owen Wilson to come in and do.
But yes, Sonic isn't just fast; he's reckless with his speed.
Well, okay.
I mean, he could be the whole thing. He's like, watch your speed. Only I can go fast. I'm a blue hedgehog.
In the cartoons, Sonic is only reckless when a point needs to be made to kids.
Well, and also
otherwise his speed is generally very precise and he's very good at it.
Well, it's the thing is that the way he the way he has his speed in the context of running, he has a lot more control than a car does.
Yes. I see the people in chat saying that, but Waze is a Google Maps product, and like, what do you mean, like, not a lot of money? Because they still have to sell voice packages, and they're still going to want them to make money. They're not going to want to do this at a deficit, regardless of who owns.
They're 100% going to have like AI voices do it.
Sonic's voice is also free, though, is my understanding. You can activate it now, and I was like, it sounds like it's just a free thing you can put on, and that's, I mean.
Okay, but they're still going to want people to download the product and to use it.
Absolutely.
And gain interest in it, or at the very least, in this case, a PR stunt.
Yeah. I mean, they're mining. Let's just be honest. That Waze is mining all that data back for Google Maps anyway. So they know that.
They still don't want to pay a lot of money for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, it's Sonic, right? It's like they're not. Is it Ben Schwartz who's doing it? Because I think he's the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the movie, or is it?
Is it just like random voice clips?
There's like a new Sonic voice for the video games.
Yeah. Is that the guy? Did they get Jaleel White to come in and do it? Like, I mean, who did you get to come in and be the Sonic in your?
I feel like
Waze app?
when you say something like, "Hey, you can have the Sonic voice in this." App, you probably don't go the Sonic voice as done by this person. You probably just say Sonic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you would never want to give away who the voice is
because you could probably then also do a sound-alike.
Yes.
But at that point, you're just paying Sega for the Sonic naming.
Yeah, you just need the branding. And at that point, if you're paying for that anyway, it's like this is like if we're paying for the branding, which is more expensive than paying the voice actor to show up and read everything.
I mean, if you're paying for the branding, you're probably paying for the latest voice actor.
We're seeing that as Roger Craig Smith, who I think is one of the most recent Sonics.
Yeah, I've heard of that James Bond.
Yes.
I mean, I'm surprised they haven't got...
Me to do it? Me too.
AI Darth Vader from Fortnite.
It's true. I mean, that's really... At this point, any famous actor who's been like, I'm fine with you licensing my voice because I'm dead now. Anybody who has ended up in that situation, it feels to me like they're already going to have they just go after that and pull that in. They should get the guy who does the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't.
If I see or hear an actor being like, yeah, it's fine to make AI copies of my voice, I'm dead now, I would be highly suspicious.
Yeah, because he probably didn't say that.
Yeah.
After all, I've been dead for 20 years.
So you're saying you don't want any Force ghosts?
No.
I mean, I don't.
And if there are Force ghosts, I don't want them to be
in your GPS.
I don't want them to be having to be working for various large corporations.
Wasn't there a story like a week or so ago about Kojima having recorded a ghost into his video game, so that they had to go to a shrine to make sure it wasn't cursed? Or he wanted to be the first one to record a real ghost into a video game or something. That
sounds fantastic.
I swear there was like a thing that was they went to a shrine, but I don't know if it was like a made up story. I
think it was something that he wanted to do, not that he had done.
Also,
but it sounds like Kojima.
I don't know. So here's my problem with the Sonic thing, though, is that recognizable voice, and then has fun catchphrases. Mm-hmm. There better be over 1,000 of those. There aren't.
I don't think there's even 1,000 of those just in the franchise.
I mean, that's why you like leave it on for like a day, and you're like, okay, I'm tired of that.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing him say the same thing every time I turn right.
They're free though, so
yes,
it is free. So
which is fair.
Yeah,
but I don't give a shit if it's free or if you pay me to have it. It's the only voice on my system. It's like I will turn it off if I'm finding it annoying.
Let's be real though. Does anyone really have a fun catchphrase that just doesn't end up being annoying after you've heard it for the third time?
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
I guess Doe is about the annoyed grunt is maybe about the most.
It's not a catchphrase if you're going to call it an annoyed grunt.
Well, that's what they write it in the
the
thing.
bees drop sound.
Annoyed grunt is what they call it.
I don't know how that.
Shaw. Vrin is my favorite. I do not get tired every time I hear her say Vrin. I get so, and she says it like a couple different ways, which I really like.
Oh, thread.
Yeah, whenever I hear her say that, it's like, yes, that means I'm healing and I'm gonna be able to get through this fight, and that's my favorite catchphrase. But literally, it's like if I get bored of this, I don't like it anymore, and it's gonna piss me off. And it's kind of why, like, I think like I've changed my Siri voice up a couple of times, but I just come back to like the generic American sounding accent or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, the kind of most boring thing of coming up, turn right, like that kind of thing. I like that. Because it's so inoffensive, it doesn't really bother me or speak out or do anything. It just kind of like, change lanes. It really is the less recognizable something is, the better it is for a voice assistant. And in fact, I even like it better when it is a little robotic, because then I do...
So you want robotic?
Because I feel like it's not... I feel like the distance between me and the device is respected.
You don't want to build a relationship with the device.
Yeah, I don't want to, like, my parents had this thing where they were referring to their GPS by a name because it's somebody in their life that they just were fucking sick of dealing with.
Yeah.
And they hated this GPS always talking all the time. I'm like, you can use your phone, it'll be way better.
That.
But they would do that, and I'm like, and yet you still plug this thing in and you let it tell you where to drive. And I'm just like, yeah, I think I like the robotic remove better, because I'm like, I know you're a device. You are respecting, and maybe that's different for me than it will be for like anyone, like a kid who's 10 years old right now is like, I don't like it when it sounds like a robot. I want it to sound like my mom. Like, if they want that kind of thing, then that maybe will end up being a generational difference between a lot of us.
If you're 10 years old and you get to choose the voice for the GPS in the car,
it'll be Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, good on you. I was barely allowed to touch the radio most of the time, so...
Anyway, the last story, or the last thing we talked about in the episode, was the Capcom is reviewing the details of the whole Street Fighter Finals being pay-per-view.
They were reviewing the price structure, aren't they?
Yes. Well, they're reviewing the details of it, and they are currently considering adjusting the price. This isn't happening until like May of next year or something. So it's a while before it happens. Maybe they're considering adjusting it up.
See, that's
maybe
the thing.
They're like, if you keep complaining, we're just going to make it more expensive.
It is such a non-response because they use the word adjusting. Because it's like, we're currently, as of right now, considering, we're only thinking about it, we're not actually going to do anything about it. Adjusting, we didn't say whether we go up or down. The only thing that's actually firm about that entire statement is the price. And to me, I'm just like, that is, they came out and they said something where they could just say nothing.
Well, yes, because they need to say something now, and whether or not that means we're actually talking about it and we're going to change it or we're not is one thing, but they do have to make a response to this much community backlash.
They do.
Like, I get it. It's a nothing response, but at the same time, when you have to make a response, you have to make one. Yeah. So you're going to make one that doesn't say anything because you have to say something. Yeah,
because you want to be like, we're considering everything. We haven't made a firm decision. And even because you want to be able to say, so you want to come back to your thing and be like, we hear that you're upset. We're considering all the points of view. We have not made a decision to change this at all. And maybe we will. And that's what you want to say, but that sounds so wishy-washy coming out of my mouth. It's just like, that's just not great. So but you have to say something, like you say.
You have to say something, because like, if what they really want to say is shut up and deal with it, you can't. That's just a bad community move, regardless. But if you want to say, maybe, or even if you're the PR person, you agree with everyone, right? Yeah. That's not your job to make... To say that. Yep. At that point, that's just you getting fired.
I mean, maybe they were like, hey, maybe they were sitting around, it's like, hey, so everyone's mad about this. Should we change it? And they went, nah. They still considered it. Yeah. They can put that they considered that they are in the...
Yeah, put the PR statement out now, and then we will go into a meeting in 10 minutes and say,
there is
we're
a
not
possibility
doing it.
They waited a day or two and thought, well, maybe it'll just blow over once the first wave of negativity, and if it didn't, then they made their nonsense statement. Yeah, like
Apple has their stance on, at least traditionally, was don't comment on anything for 7 days. It's like things go into Apple PR, like they go to Apple Legal and Apple PR, and they're basically just like, when a controversy hits, take 7 days to research, find out what's going on, figure out what's happening, find out if it's going to be a problem, how that problem's going to manifest, like learn all the things and then come up with a response based on the science of the situation or whatever it is. Like AntennaGate was a lot of that, right? And it's like, don't say anything. And then of course, when AntennaGate happened, it was like, you're holding your phone wrong. It's like, that was the wrong fucking response.
But in this,
even if it was true, it was still the wrong response.
And in this day and age, that's 7 days is a long
It's a long time.
But sometimes things, especially on the internet, when they blow up, that like there are definitely things you probably should respond to right away, even if that response is, we don't have a response right now, but we'll talk about it just so that people know, right? That's allowing people to know they've been heard at the very minimum. But a lot of times when there is a lot of backlash over certain things, it is not an emergency that requires people to go and respond to it. And a lot of times those first responses that you see that we end up making fun of is because it is an incredibly angry initial response from someone saying, well, if you don't like it, just go away, right? Like it's not a good response to have in the first place. So it would be better to not respond.
And if you
even though that seems like an eternity.
Well, and if you have like, if you're the kind of, if you're a company where you're seeing like, oh, there's a backlash online, it's like, okay, like, and people are really mad. It's like, okay, a lot of people are really mad. And like, okay, you didn't tell me anything. You didn't give me a clear, like a lot of people are upset. All of our customers are upset. All of our customers are canceling their streaming plans. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. Now I have something to actually go on that I'm like, now I understand the scope of what's gone wrong, because Capcom saying you're gonna have to pay to watch the Street Fighter finals live, but you'll be able to watch it for free later, like knowing all the facts. It's like everyone who got mad, was that 100 people who just happened to have the biggest megaphones? Was it 1,000 people who are chatting about this on all corners of the internet? Was it 100,000 people who have just basically said, I'm not playing Street Fighter 6 anymore. I'm going to play some other game by some other company. Like, what's the scope and who's being loud and how are they being loud? And that's the problem, is that when you're a company, you're like, we're trying to assess how upset the community is about this. Because what if 1,000 people are upset, but 1 million people are like, oh, that sounds fair. Mm-hmm. You go with the 1 million people who say, well, that sounds fair. It's like, yeah, sorry, you 1,000 who are mad about this, but you're going to just have to be mad about that, because ultimately the other 1 million people think it's a fair ask.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of comes down to the whole trying to find good feedback in a sea of words, right?
Yeah.
It's, is the clash of people being angry, and this isn't, I'm not going to go with a specific example like the Street Fighter thing, because honestly,
this is a lesson to be applied
once you start
broadly.
doing that, people start taking sides in a topic that when you're trying to make a more generalization thing. But like, we have a whole group of YouTubers whose entire money-making scheme is to just be negative and angry about everything. So no matter what gets said, their feedback kind of doesn't help in the ocean of words that you're looking for feedback in, right?
Yeah.
I also think it makes it less trustworthy.
It can be, and that's why having the community managers or PR
it's a
PR people,
very important job to have a good community manager
that
for
know
certain games.
Know how to extract the noise from the signal from the noise.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to a couple stories, or some stories that didn't make it into the episode of ChillPoint. Like for instance, there's been a recent update in No Man's Sky, because No Man's Sky constantly has new updates with new, cool, amazing things. Mm-hmm. One of the things that it was in the new update is a huge amount of ship customization that they've added, allowing you to make bigger ships than ever before, and you can actually make ships that like multiple people can operate. Like you can have like a whole a group of people operating on one ship and doing different tasks on the ship and walking around on it and doing different things like that, which is super neat. So of course, somebody made a Death Star in No Man's Sky. Now obviously it isn't as big as a moon.
Right. Oh, look at Crash Twitter. No.
Well, and part of the problem is that
it's
in fact so large in the game that it does apparently crash people's systems.
Yeah.
Which I guess is
I think that's the wrong kind of crashing they were expecting with
it kind of fits with the it's like, do what we say or we'll bring the Death Star and destroy your safe game.
Yeah. Supreme destructive power.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a great this is an article on Kotaku. In the comments, the top comment is, I can't actually play No Man's Sky at the moment because somebody built an extremely large ship and hasn't landed in a space station, and it messed up my pathfinding, and now my character is floating in space like 4 hours from the PlayStation.
Or from the space station.
Or from the space station or a planet, and I'm not sure where my body will go if I die, so I'm afraid to let it happen.
Oh no.
And then somebody responded being, that is the most No Man's Sky thing I've ever heard. It's like, that sounds like the synopsis of a Harry Ellison story or Harlan Ellison story.
It's so weird too, because like that by not allowing upper bounds on what you can put together that constitutes a ship, then you can create this kind of situation.
I mean, I'm assuming there are upper bounds. They're just larger than they were before.
And I mean, to my mind, it's like, wow, that should be a thing where they're like, oh, we definitely let it get out of control. But somebody being like, I built a giant ship and then I have it docked at a space station, but it means that it's effing up my pathfinding, whoever built this big ass ship. And it's like, that should also be a clue that, I think we went a little too far.
Yeah.
And how do you manage that? Do you say to people, it's like, we're going to remove any ships from the game that are above a certain level, so please take stuff off of your ships?
Please.
Who knows?
Please, small ship.
Please small your ships.
Yeah. If your ship...
there are upper downs. They cheat the ships like that to get more than you normally would have.
Yeah.
Sick. All right.
Yeah. If your ship is creating some sort of localized gravity field because of how heavy it is, then maybe there's a problem.
Yeah.
Hey, you want a new Final Fantasy game?
Sure.
Square Enix has announced Dissidia Duellum.
Okay, cool.
Maybe just Duellum? Yeah.
Duellum.
Probably
exciting new
not their worst
Final Fantasy Dissidia game. Everyone likes Dissidia, except this is going to be a mobile game.
Oh, right. Dissidia was the fighting
one, Monkey's
right?
Paw Curls. This is going to be an iOS and Android game. It is a 3v3 team bottle bass arena. I said team boss battle arena.
Teen bottle
bass arena.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like
so
teen better than team, but
teams of 3.
Yeah.
Two a
3 by
PvP.
3. PvP.
Yeah.
I think it is PvP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels very much like we just got a new Fire Emblem mobile game announced too, right?
I don't like that game.
You don't have to. I'm just saying it got announced.
I don't even like that it's under the Fire Emblem branding.
Players will compete in teams of 3 to use powerful abilities to defeat the boss faster than the enemy team.
Okay, so PvP, not like direct PvP.
Yeah, it's sort of
is like
PvPvE.
Who can do this thing the fastest?
Which does seem very like, I don't know. It's got that aspect of like, it's like, are we saving? The Final Fantasy thing of like, we have to save the world, save the planet, destroy God, or whatever we're doing in this Final Fantasy game to help everybody. And it's like, no, we're not helping everybody. We're trying to do it as quickly as possible because we want to beat these other guys.
But my understanding from that title of the article is that there's something really interesting about this game. Or maybe bland, depending on what you think.
It has Final Fantasy characters such as Kain, Terra, Zidane, and Lighting. Lighting is in the game.
They meant lightning. That's just a typo.
No, it says Lighting, and it's been bolded, and it's a press
typo.
release, and clearly Lighting has made it into the game finally.
Clearly a typo.
But
they might actually have shaders next.
In particular, it's the Final Fantasy 13 lighting, which was known to be very good lighting.
Very good lighting, yes. Yeah. So good they brought it back in a second game. Lighting returned.
When you get old, I'm going to make fun of everything you do too.
You didn't write this article.
I don't know. I don't know why I said when you get old, because you've been old since the day you were born. So
When I continue being old.
They will also so it's characters from all the different Final Fantasy games, but they are being brought into modern day Tokyo, which is kind of interesting. It's set in modern day Tokyo instead of a fantasy setting, and then each character has been redesigned as like modern.
Sick! It's a high school AU.
I know. Like, I actually think this would be funny as an anime, but as a mobile game, I'm not sure I'd want.
Which I have to say, considering that, like, I like Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
But I would say roughly 75% of a Final Fantasy character is their outfit. Their outfit represents like the largest portion of the characterization of that, and why people like that character or why people don't like that character.
Well, in this case, a lot of that is being drawn upon the color schemes.
So I mean,
right?
they're basically
that's doing a lot of the work there.
They're kind of doing the like Disney adult thing version. It's like if you were wanting to do like Final Fantasy cosplay.
Oh, cosplay
on the DL.
Yeah. This is
they call it.
This is Nobu bounding. What do we call this? Yeah, Disney bounding.
Yeah, I mean, so what I do think is funny is because of the whole modern day Tokyo thing. If they had said, "Oh, the reason," because I don't know if they've actually stated why these characters are here or anything. Like it's like clearly characters from across the Final Fantasy series, but are they being summoned through a portal?
A giant crystal appears in the city of Tokyo.
Yeah, but do they come out of the crystal, or are they just hanging out in the city already, like they already live here?
Also, Tokyo is massive.
Yes, I know.
So what part of the city?
As terror dominates the city, armed warriors emerge as if they were answering a cry for help.
Again, were they just hanging out? And then they were like, hey, you know what? I could do this. I got a giant sword.
It clearly says they emerge.
That's
I'm
what
gonna say,
more do you need to know?
I'm going to say that school let out and all the girls came out, and then all the boys, grown fucking men who are clearly in their late 20s all show up to fight alongside all the girls who just got out of class.
You need to stop watching anime that makes all the high school guys look like they're 20s.
Look at how they're dressed. All the girls are in schoolgirl outfits. They're all in schoolgirl outfits from different places, but all the men in this are all dressed in casual clothing and look like they're hanging out at the pool hall. That's how this looks. None of the boys are wearing a single thing that could be mistaken for a high school uniform, but all the girls are.
Not a high school uniform, but some of those guys do not look like they're out of high school.
This guy looks pretty.
Yeah,
Zidane looks pretty young.
He's the short one that you need to be more afraid of because he's the one who wants to fight everybody because he's so short.
No, he's not.
I wonder
he's
if
one half of a Manze troop.
What if he still has a tail?
Probably.
In this version?
He should.
He probably doesn't have a tail. What he might have, his belt might like hang low, with a big tail belt.
That's good.
I
like that.
Like if they're all summoned through a phone app, then I feel like Square might be on the tail of
Persona?
a Persona game.
Yeah. These definitely have the feeling
It has a Persona vibe.
Yeah.
Not Persona. The
Tokyo Mirage TMJ Fortissimo. When your jaw really hurts.
I'm never talking to you again. Paul?
All right. In that
What's
case,
next?
Let's move on to the next story.
If you're not careful, Beach, I will ruin every Act 3 thing in Silk Song for you.
I couldn't remember the full name of Tokyo Mirage Sessions for a second, so I had to go with what I could remember.
It's hashtag.
Hashtag Fortissimo.
Pokemon Legends ZA or ZA, depending on who you are talking to.
Za, the pizza one.
Yes. Pokemon Legends ZA.
Came out today.
Just came out. Yeah. It's been getting, it's obviously the preview reviews have been coming out. Mostly positive.
They're generally positive about some things, and it depends. It feels like it depends on what kind of gameplay you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The new multiplayer or the new real-time combat thing seems pretty neat.
It does sound pretty interesting.
I'm kind of bummed that the multiplayer aspect is kind of lackluster.
I'm a little bit more interested in the person who described it as the closest thing to a Pokemon MMO sim that we have, because you can kind of go and hang out at cafes. And it looks like everybody in town has a partner Pokemon and
fun.
That kind of thing. Unfortunately, most of the gameplay does seem to be more battle-based than The Last Legends. So.
Oh, really? The Last Legends was a little lighter on...
Well...
Because there's a lot of capture you were doing.
The theming for the last one had to do more with building a Pokedex. The
Right.
theming of this one is more about fighting.
Okay.
But they do have a new fighting system. Now, the more interesting thing is that it seems like they're using Legends, at least based on the fact that we've seen 2 of these games now, to try a bunch of different things. And that it's not just like, oh, they did a second one where you get Isekai to a different time period.
Right.
So that could be interesting in the fact that if they continue with this series, that the next Legends game could also be something very different and maybe unusual and different.
Anyway, so, but the other sort of Pokemon ZA news that has come out this week is that the Terra leak, which was a big Game Freaks leak that happened a couple months ago. In fact, I think end of 2024. Was sort of when the main stuff came out.
A couple of months. It's October, Paul. That was a long time ago now.
I said a couple of months ago. In fact, it was the end of 2024. I was correcting myself.
Yes.
Don't worry, Beach is just catching up.
Time is just... Time is a...
Every time you mention time to him, he just...
Time is a filthy
his
spiral.
His brain has to reboot a little.
Yeah.
Anyway. The person who released because the Terra leak, as the name might suggest, is very, very big. There's a lot of stuff in there, and we reported on a few of the things that sort of got filtered out of there. Some of the stuff about like concept designs for weird Pokemon that never made it and different things like that. But now with the ZA. Whether it's still part of that same leak or whether there's been like additional stuff, it's not totally clear. But the original person who leaked the stuff has sort of released a bunch of other stuff about Pokemon ZA, including the entire source code for the game, as well as several like beta builds of it, which is kind of a big deal. The full source code for the current Pokemon game is obviously, Game Freaks is probably not super happy about that.
No.
Personally, as somebody who, obviously doesn't have a financial stake in it, I bet I'm kind of excited for maybe people will be able to do some cool stuff with that source code.
Yeah.
But
they won't be able to tell anyone about it or they'll get stomped into the ground.
Everyone is also making an awful lot of comments about how much the game was budgeted to make, and they're doing it with basically no knowledge.
It's not the how much the game was budgeted to make. The budget of the game, which is kind of amazing, if it's true, that the budget for Pokemon ZA was $15 million or 12 million or 13 million.
13 million.
Yeah.
2 billion yen.
Yeah. Which,
if true, considering how much money it will probably make and like how much money, say, Scarlet and Violet made.
Yeah.
The idea that Pokemon games are being made for that kind of a budget, when you think about the other sort of top tier franchises, which have budgets upwards of $200 million, kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to medium it out a little bit. Like
I definitely feel like this reporting is mind blowing.
I like there is some stuff that Pokemon could definitely improve on a little bit graphically as well. And they do seem to have like resources to be able to do that if they have enough time. Because I think it's more the time budget.
Yeah.
Because the more time something takes, the more your budget does expand as well.
Yep.
But also, I do think there's a lot of really big budget games that could maybe tone it down.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's, I mean, what we're seeing is it's like, oh, well, included but not limited to lower staff salaries in Japan. And it's like, okay, so is everyone's reporting on the budget for this game is this much. And I'm like, okay, what does that include? Like, what are the line items here? Like, I haven't, like, in what we're looking at, there's one paragraph that says this is what this says. And I haven't done any research on it. But I am interested now to go find whatever this document is and read and determine it's like, so what are they accounting for in all of these budgets? And also, I get that there's a long-standing thing, especially for how Scarlet and Violet came out, that was like, oh, this thing is just full of like launch day bugs that we hate. And that's fair. And the games could be smoother. And again, that's fair, right? Like there could be more work you could be doing on developing these games and working in these things harder. And it also sounds, I think we've reported on in the past, that Game Freak has had Nintendo reach in to be like, you guys need some help in getting this stuff working properly. So we're going to do what we can to assist however it is they assist. But Nintendo doesn't make the game. Game Freak makes the game.
Right.
And my frustration with seeing the reporting, it's like, wow, this thing only cost $13 million. Well, they could be spending all that money on X. And I'm like, wait, I see people saying like, they should just buy a new game engine. I'm like, should they? Why? What would that do? What would that do if they bought a new game engine?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the sort of armchair quarterbacking of like what they could do with more money.
Yeah. They should just spend some money to tighten up the graphics in level 3. Is what that sounds like to me. It sounds completely fucking bonkers that people are like, all they have to do is just dump a bunch of money in this thing, and the next thing you know, it'll all work. And I'm like, it always ends up coming off like that to me, because it doesn't feel like people have an understanding of how the business has to work. But could they afford to spend more money on the game? I bet they could. Would that translate into better performance? I think time is what they need more than they need anything else.
And that's one of the things that I've seen people talk about a lot is that, sure, the budget is whatever the budget is.
Yeah.
But the time budget, and Game Freaks has sort of quite famously resisted the sort of AAA studio thing of like staffing up hugely.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the time budget for making Pokemon games, and that has been what I think is a reasonable criticism of a lot of Pokemon games, that regardless of the budget, because we didn't know that at the time, they felt rushed.
Yeah. And given the complexity of the platforms over time and the complexity of what it is you're doing, it's like, yeah, they're going to feel more and more rushed because they're not willing to spread out the distance between when the games are coming out.
And a lot of some of the more reasonable speculation that I've seen people have is the idea that part of the problem with the games is that they are kind of a piece of a larger machine.
Yeah.
In the sense that Pokemon has so many things going on that when they, like, you've seen when we put out a video, one video chat, and we're like, oh man, we got to also make sure we like tell people about it, and maybe we got to make a couple verticals for it, and we got to do whatever. There's like 6 now extra things we have to do with that video. Pokemon has a card game and main series of games and like just like a bazillion different pieces to it that all rely on, is a new thing happening? Well, then everything has to have new thing in it now, and it all has to go on in time. Now, for a card game, you only have to have like some artwork that's static, and you've got to have like your text and stuff filled out. But for the video game, you've got like animations, storylines, all this other stuff that's got to put on it.
But in
voice lines.
And for a while, we had those games coming out what felt like yearly.
And then often you've got like the cartoon is also coming out. Like,
and the cartoon
and even card games or cartoons or whatever. The lead time on those.
Oh yeah.
You're going back 6 months a year.
Just for early development, yeah.
When that stuff has to, when that stuff basically has to be locked.
And you have to like get your factory printing time at different things already pre-booked. So it's like, if a game is like, now this game is going to be delayed by, we could use a whole year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can delay the whole year worth of everything else without like a major shift in everything you're doing.
Yeah.
And you see that happen occasionally with less strongly integrated products, I guess. You see things happening with like, there's that Amazon series that had the thing about Concorde when Concorde exploded.
Yeah.
And it's like, or you have other things where like, the video game comes out that was meant to be supported by a movie or a TV show, and the TV show isn't ready yet, or by the same token, the TV show comes out and the video game comes out 6 months later when nobody cares anymore.
When the first Mario movie came out, not the 80s one, but the more recent animated one, there was a lot of talk on all the podcasts I listened to about like, well, where's the Mario game that would come out at the same time, because of clearly all of the marketing that you would have the two tie into each other. Yeah. Regardless of whether that movie is based on the game or not, like where's the Mario game, because they have the Mario movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this time around, their whole thing is the Mario Galaxy movie, and they re-released Mario Galaxy 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But that movie doesn't come out till next year, so it's still not really...
Yeah, they didn't quite coordinate
right? Yeah. But people expect it.
And I think in general, Pokemon has been, they've had enough experience that they are usually pretty good at that. Mm-hmm. But the trade-off is that, sometimes the games or other aspects of it have to be rushed because of things.
Yeah.
And it is
generally why I prefer the non-mainline games, because they get to do something different and interesting, and hopefully they don't have to adhere to whatever kind of weird expectations they've fallen into.
Are you going to get is that it?
I'm going to watch some stuff about it first, because the reason I really liked the first one was because I liked the fact that you got isekai'd into this weird thing, and that your whole thing was trying to build the first Pokedex, and I liked the theming. It does sound like it's pretty fun, so I'm kind of leaning more towards I'd like to, but I want to see a little bit more about it first.
Walking around in like one city for the entire time does seem like a little.
I mean,
not quite as interesting.
I think it was Silver that allowed you to have a Pokemon walking around behind you.
Yeah.
When they did that,
and that was fun.
That was awesome. I was all about that. I mean, I was also a very different age, but I was all about that, Paul.
But I mean, you can do that in Scarlet and Violet as well. In fact, they walk around with you and kill people, which is very weird.
Like Scarlet and Violet a lot more if it felt like any of the storylines let me do anything that didn't involve fighting.
That's true. But like you also are like exploring a large area.
That's
right?
pretty cool.
If you were just stuck in one of the cities,
I
don't know.
It's just it's this whole thing of in Arceus, one of the funniest things, because you get different Pokemon that you can kind of fast travel and do different things with. So like you can ride around like in the sky and whatever. And one of them lets you climb the side of mountains. And I think that's Sneasel. But Sneasel puts you in a basket on your back.
Yes.
With your little eyes poking out. And that's just funny.
This entrepreneur, this cheerleader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if Za will let me do that, maybe that's more a selling point for me.
And of course, never forget that it's the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, Game Freak, Creatures, all three of them, all involved in a joint venture here to make all of that stuff. And surely Nintendo has the most money that goes into the Pokemon Company, but it is the Pokemon Company. Mm-hmm. And so everyone's, that company is making its own money, and then money is flowing back to everyone from there as well, based on, I guess, their involvement. So
I do hope they make another Let's Go sequel. I agree with that. Replaying the first game as the Let's Go and getting all the fun different camera angles and stuff for stuff that I was already familiar with. That might be nostalgia, but it was still really cool to see that.
Speaking of fun animal friends, Black Myth Wukong. You're a monkey man.
Mm-hmm.
Is obviously it's been out for PS5 for quite a long time. They've been having some performance issues.
Oh no!
But it's okay,
On the PS5.
On the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
And so they in this latest patch, they're adjusting some performance stuff. I like this. These PS5 specific fixes in the patch notes. Adjusted performance mode back to 60 hertz, which reduces the input latency and achieves a higher resolution than before. However, the lighting quality has been adjusted to enhance performance. The original performance mode is still retained and renamed under Performance Mode Legacy. So basically, they were trying to do the higher frame rate, but apparently that increased the latency of the inputs and stuff to the point where it was not actually.
Oh, you don't want that in that kind of game.
No.
Huh.
Improved game loading and loading speed and clarity textures. Now, one of the aspects of this that other than just that it's getting this big update is when I say they're getting a big update, this is a big update. This is a 93.5 gigabyte patch.
So for all that performance, they must have bought a new engine.
Basically, they had to. It's one of these situations where they part of the update. I think in part of the thing, in order to make the get things loading faster or whatever, is they basically had to change. They changed the file encoding or storage system, which meant which means that basically every single file has been changed.
Fair, yeah.
It's not that the files are actually like new and different, but they've been re-encoded or recompressed,
right?
Or differently encoded,
yeah.
Which means that basically the entire game has to be re-downloaded.
What a weird feeling that must be to be like, I installed the game and then I went and do an update and it just reinstalled the new version of the game over top of itself.
Due to differences in file storage methods, this patch on PS5 will require a relatively large amount of space, approximately 93.5 gigabytes.
All of it.
If the update cannot be completed due to insufficient storage or other reasons, you may continue playing with the current version or try deleting the game and re-downloading it.
Yeah. That probably is just the best way to do it, I'm sure, is just to be like, F it. Just go get the new one.
Yeah, it depends on what you want, right? Like if you don't want the update for some reason, then,
keep playing the current one if you want.
I guess that's cool that you can do that.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, if you've got a PS5 and you are playing Black Myth Wukong, do that overnight or something. Make sure that you've got your bandwidth, if you don't have a bandwidth cap or something. A couple of other stories that just sort of popped up in the last little while. Thanks a bunch to the
mods?
ChillPoint tips line from our mods. They're always got great stuff. GZ Doom, or again GZ Doom.
Oh, Jesus, this.
Which is a open source Doom clone.
Oh, yes.
Basically, it's like a it's
Z Doom or Z Doom.
Recreating Doom
as
an open source thing, and then basically so it can take in as lots of fun mods and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, and I believe it itself is like, I think it comes from the Z Doom thing, and so GZ Doom is like this person's make of it that everyone really likes working on for some reason.
Jizadoom,
which is like the place where you get lost. It shows up once every 100 years or something, right?
In Dune?
Right.
In Dune?
Brigadoon is what I'm making a reference
to
there.
Wrong Dune.
Yeah, Jizadoon.
So there's been this is one of these open source projects that the person running it, apparently there's been a fair amount of friction with the person running it for a while now. And it is one of these open source projects where there's sort of one person who's largely in charge of the project.
Mm-hmm.
and it came to a head a little while ago, or this week, because the person pushed in a bunch of AI generated code.
And it was unilateral in the sense, like it was like the person decided to do it. They went ahead and did it. Then they tried to cover their tracks that they did it. And everyone's like, yo, what the fuck is all this? And they're like, I don't care what you have to say about it. We're leaving it in.
They didn't really actually cover their tracks. In fact, there was a comment that said, inserted by ChatGPT.
Ah, okay. Okay. Because I'd seen somebody do a breakdown on it, like a real fast breakdown. And then they went back to try to make it look like they didn't.
They did that later.
Okay.
But the first code was inserted. It's like ChatGPT generated code. And then and the issue, obviously the use of AI for coding has a few different thoughts. Lots of people are doing it. It works in certain circumstances. It is probably not as good as some people think. Mm-hmm. It does have its use. But the problem in this case, people were not wild about AI code being inserted as in general.
Yep.
In particular, there's certain aspects of like, hey, we don't know where this code came from. Is this still GPL compliant and stuff like that? So is this going to mess up the licensing?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been any case studies on that. But also, this code was sucked. Like, this code actually didn't work.
Oh, good.
Wow. The particular code that was called out was very simple. It was just supposed to detect, this is a Linux on Linux, it was supposed to detect dark mode, like whether your computer's in dark mode or not.
Okay.
Like dark versus light mode, right?
Yeah.
And then so it renders the UI differently. There's two different functions that were added. One for KDE and one for
GNOME.
One for
XFCE.
Yeah.
Okay.
XDG.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Two different codes. Two different things because you have to detect it differently for different programs.
Yeah.
The one for XDG does what it's supposed to do, which is access the. There's a special API in the system. You access. You request You request what the appearance is set to, and it gives you 1 if it's dark, 2 if it's light, 0 if it hasn't been set.
Okay.
Except the code got it backwards. The code that was generated by the thing.
No.
So
you had one job.
The code. The spec is supposed to be 1 for dark, 2 for light. The code returns 2 for dark, 1 for light. So that was wrong. So that's bad. What's great? What my favorite one though is the KDE version of it.
Yeah.
Which should be basically doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Check this API for it. Instead, the code that the ChatGPT generated, and it is ChatGPT, like he didn't use Claude or one of the other coding specific ones. The code that ChatGPT generated for him goes and looks at the name of the theme that is currently invoked, and if it has the word dark in the name, considers it to be dark mode. That's what it checks. Which is like not how you're supposed to do that.
Okay, so the AI thing aside,
yeah.
When you put in new code into a thing, aren't you supposed to like test it or check it or see that it's running?
But a computer wrote it, and a computer knows how to run code.
And this compiled, but yeah, there should be any code that comes.
Aren't you supposed? Isn't there supposed to be like a in production before you push to?
Yeah.
Or whatever the terminology is.
Apparently, it wasn't tested as much as it should have been. Because
like at all.
People have gotten have done a lot of cool things by using AI systems to help them code, but you do have to, in the same way as if you were, grabbing code from whatever, Stack Overflow or from some other website.
Well, if you were copying and pasting code from a site and not an AI source, you'd still want to check it over.
To make sure. Yeah, you don't just copy and paste it in and then just go. You check to make sure it actually does the thing. So clearly there's sort of several levels of failure here.
Yeah, I understand the motivation because from that point of view where you're like, we're making this open source port of it doesn't matter what it is, but you're making an open source port, and then you're just like, oh, we have this little like hanging feature where we know we can do our UI in light mode and in dark mode, and the lead programmer, the guy who's like leading the project or whatever, right? It's like, oh, yeah, you know what? We haven't ever actually implemented this check, and I don't have time. As far as my brain is concerned, I do not have time to go look into the 2 different standards for how this stuff is defined and then write the code on how that. Why don't I just ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, can you fart out some code for me? And it's like, absolutely, you do this and you do this. It's like, yeah, looks fine. I guess that's how. Boy, that's real weird that KDE does that way and then just pops it in there and is like, that's all there is. And they're like, great, I did it. And we're done, and I'm just going to roll forward with it because they're like, as far as I'm concerned, this is a thing that I never want to come back and have to think about ever again. I didn't want to learn about this in the first place. I just want to get on with writing my other code. I get the motivation.
And that's the argument that because obviously people came back at him on this.
Yeah.
And that the argument here was, he's like, it's just some boilerplate. I'm not going to use it for like the important code.
Sure.
This is just some boilerplate. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, blah, blah, it's wrong for all these reasons.
I understand the motivation.
But yeah, I have, I've talked about that. I haven't had a lot of success. I've tried AI, help AI support coding a little bit, and I've not had a lot of success. Recently I've gotten it to I've got it to write a couple of scripts for me,
right?
Like Python scripts that have mostly worked for what I wanted it to do, in the same way, like basically as a equivalent of going on, some Stack Overflow or some tutorial website and trying to find some code that will be close to what I want.
Yeah.
And then I can like tweak it a little bit. And that works, especially if you're sort of making something that's like, I know roughly how to do this. I just don't know the exact syntax.
Yes.
Okay, it made it for me. I can check this. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the danger comes when you start working into an area where you don't actually know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And the code is generating that for you and doing it wrong.
And so what's interesting to me, like, because in this situation, so what is happening now is that there's been a fairly large exodus of people who have said, screw it, we're forking, and if you're going to do this, everybody who's not interested in having AI code in any way, shape, or form intrude upon what it is we're doing. We're making a new fork called UZDoom, and you guys can
so rather than GZDoom, it's now UZDoom.
Yeah.
Basically, hey, we're all going to make a new thing and it's going to be exactly the same, except he's not going to be here.
The thing that gets me about this is like I don't know. I did not know what a hash table was. I was never taught that in multiple computer science courses that I was forced to take as part of my degree. And I need to be clear, I did not want to take any computer programming courses at all. But they were like, if you want your degree, you'll take these 5. Mm. So I didn't know what a hash table was never introduced that as a concept.
It's like a table, and then you know those like
where you make your hash browns.
Yeah. It's where you put all your sponsorships. So I didn't know what that is. Was never taught that, and people are in chat are already be like, but it's a thing, and it's like, yeah, key value pairs, not aware of any of that, was not taught that. University level courses, I want to be clear, all right? So when I encountered this for the first time, I was given a Perl script, and it's like, you need to rewrite this so this works on Windows. Do not start giving me advice. I don't do this for a living anymore. Don't fucking get into it with me, chat. Don't. But what
stop reading the chat.
Okay? You could just not get into it with them.
I just want you to just understand. It's like, what we know we can run this on our Windows machines is PowerShell. So it's like, your job is to rewrite this. I'm like a bad programmer. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, you'll be fine. So it took me months because I had no idea how to make stuff work. So, and eventually had to go ask one of the Unix programmers. I'm like, I don't get why, I don't know what any of this means. I don't know how any of this works. Because I would look at the code and try to understand. It's like, but what is this actually doing? I don't get it. And I didn't know what the term was. I didn't know what a hash table was. And I wouldn't need to. And the guy who wrote in Perl, he didn't need to put in, for anyone who's on Comp 101, what I'm doing is called a hash table. You don't do stuff like that, right? It's not part of that.
And yeah.
So I had to go find someone eventually and say, I don't understand what this actually means. I had to really be I thought I could figure it out, but I don't get it. And he's like, this is called a hash table. Let me tell you how this works. And he starts explaining. I'm like, I have heard of key value pairs. He's like, okay, cool. Well, that's what this all is. And then
that data structure is called different things sometimes.
Yeah. And as he starts telling me about all this stuff and everything, I'm like, I walk out of his office. I'm like, oh. And then within a couple of weeks, I'd managed to move the entire script from the one thing to the other. And I finally understood how it was supposed to work. And then I had other problems. But it was just this thing of, if you don't know what you're looking for, or you don't know how to address something, or you don't know what XDG calls the variable or the API that allows you access to the thing that tells you how this works, because I had to try to figure out how a lot of WMI stuff worked, and had to learn a lot about WMI to only really get 3 things out of it that I actually needed. All of that is of course someone is going to turn to an educational resource, and that's probably these days going to start being AI programs, because they think that they can just ask that and get an answer immediately.
When you're working on an open source thing with a lot of different people, though, isn't the benefit of that you have other people who can fill in pieces where your knowledge set does not cover? Yeah.
And if this person was like, we should write this piece of code, then saying, hey, we don't have a check to ask for light versus dark. Has anyone worked with that before, and do they want to write it? And at that point, you're leaving it up to those people to hopefully know somebody in the thing to know how to do it. But if you're the leader of the project, you might have a bit of ego about what you know and you don't know.
Sure. I'm just...
in response to this this chat code, or this AI code, people basically did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've because I use terminal stuff at work, and it takes me so long to go through it, because I have to know what all the things mean.
Yeah. What does this switch actually
partially
do?
Because if I don't, I can't remember it.
But by the same token, man,
I love graphical user interfaces so much more.
Yeah. One of the things that ChatGPT and those kind of things are actually pretty good at, write me a FFmpeg command line that will do this, because FFmpeg is really well documented online. So it's sucked up that code. And the particular intricacies of the formatting of the order of the different things in the command line can be a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, using FFmpeg and reading through their documentation when you don't understand half of what that program can actually do is really hard.
There's also the thing
I don't have the same kind of computer knowledge as a lot of people in the office, so I have to work a little bit harder to make some of that stuff work. My brain also doesn't wrap its head around certain things. Man, setting up sound to work on stream at home and having Beej explain how sound moves. Nope.
Not like how it is compression.
No,
wave,
but
literally how you route it.
The routing of it.
Yeah.
I still just want to throw somebody in the ocean over at.
Yeah. Stream sound routing is, it cooks my brain.
It feels like a dark art these days.
It's gotten way more complicated. It is definitely one of the more. You would think that video would be the harder aspect, because it's it's 2 different things. But sound routing is a pain in the patootie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how we record sound, given how many ways it can fuck up.
We don't. We record everything silently, and then we have everyone do their lines afterwards.
Oh, right. That's why of the syncing. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to be able to just ask Stack Overflow for stuff, or you'd go on Stack Overflow or Reddit and you'd post a thing and you give the wrong answer, and then everyone would give you the right answer, which is such a shitty thing to do, obviously, because it just means that people might not read far enough to get the right answer.
And now ChatGPT has
both answers.
Has pulled in all those wrong answers. But somewhere where you're going to get some right answers is final story I want to talk about this week is Job. Funny enough, the Job LLC is a company they've done a few of these before, but they're making a Paper Mario inspired cookbook that looks pretty delicious. They
a bunch of flat items.
Well, I mean, Paper Mario has like a whole. I haven't played some of the later ones yet, but they have like kind of a soft cooking, get different items that way, right? Like you get flour to make cake and whatnot.
Exactly. This is
Paper Plates is the name of the book.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't advocate maybe eating everything off of paper plates. It's incredibly wasteful.
It's just the capture is odd, yeah. But yeah, that's cute. It hasn't funded yet.
How is it related to Job? It's just Job LLC happens to be the name of the company that is doing this. They've previously done a Zelda inspired cookbook called The Legends Cookbook. They've also done a and then they also Brawl in the Family artist Matthew
Toronto
is doing the art for it. It just looks adorable and looks like some really tasty recipes. They just started their Kickstarter, so who knows?
Yeah, I have video game inspired cookbooks have been a thing for a little while now, and some of them are really interesting. Like it's some of the better ones have a little bit better theming for what comes out of the game, or some artwork. Some of the ones that you see where you're like, you find them at the grocery store, you're kind of eyeing them in a weird way. You're like, did you just took a bunch of recipes and stuck the word Minecraft on this? Like,
yeah,
does happen. You got to kind of watch.
There's definitely got to be like a balance of like actually good food.
Yeah,
because usually the recipes in games are simplified. I remember there's been there's a bunch of videos about like making cake using the Minecraft cake recipe, and it's like there's only like 3 ingredients in this. It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. I have a Zelda cookbook that I got off of. I think it's a fan made one, but it's very fancy. It's based off of all of the foods you could make in Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
And they are tested recipes.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good apparently. I've clearly not made.
But you don't just throw it all in a pot and then it hops up and down.
No. I mean, if I made the cake from, was it Odin Sphere? I believe the cheesecake was just a chunk of cheddar cheese and milk.
Oh dear.
Makes sense to me.
It was one of the funniest cooking things I've ever seen.
I feel like that's just like a nice sauce for your macaroni.
Spiritfarer is good for that too.
Oh yeah.
You can make lots of different dishes with like 2 ingredients. But yeah, for some you asked, this is not official, this is not. It is Paper Mario inspired. They don't and like you saw in that in the Kickstarter video, the art was all flat and stuff, but it wasn't Mario.
Yeah, it didn't look like they're like if it was official, you'd have Paper Mario on there for one. And I don't know if I would see Nintendo doing a Kickstarter. Like we had,
never.
I remember when Shenmue got announced at E3 as having a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so there was kind of this like, oh, they're going to start using Kickstarter in that way. And I don't really think that ever panned out for like the wider game industry.
No, there's yeah.
They just sell it on the Nintendo store and they'd be missing a bunch of pages.
Yeah. There's another Kickstarter that actually just came out that I thought was, I know we're wrapping up, but there was another Kickstarter that just came out. It's for a history book, I believe, called Go Computer Now, and it's about Sphere technology. It was a microcomputer company based out of Utah by a Brigham Young University graduate, and they had basically made.
Can't make spheres on computers.
It's definitely not a sphere-shaped computer, but it was a microcomputer that had a lot of firsts about it that other computer companies had since claimed, like Commodore and Atari and like all that kind of stuff. It's like this guy actually did some of these things first. It was expensive, and it was like, but this is a way to get. But also, it was like a fully expandable kind of computer, and so this person doing the Kickstarter found it on the road, just like a few years ago. Found one just kind of like sitting to be like going into computer recycling or whatever, and was like, I have never heard of sphere technology in my life. This thing looks so old. What the hell is it? Took it home, started trying to learn about it, realized there's no information out there, then starts digging into information about it, and then discovers, oh my God, this is like a computer company that was maybe 5 years ahead of its time. Like, and could have, if they just were like a little bit later, they might have actually been able to ride the wave of computer whatever, but they started a little too early and didn't get there at the right time for being able to become a thing.
Cool.
And so they've written a 350-page book on the history and the design, and like and they started designing their own PCBs and stuff, and it's just like it looks really cool. And I was just like, I got to tell people about this because I know we have a lot of people who are like retro heads that would be like, I'm totally into this idea.
I love the idea that like, you know, you found it on like the side of the road, or whatever. I love that. I like to think that he found it on the side of the road because like some other person had one and had gotten obsessed with it, and like researched it and doing all this thing, and then realized that it was like, this is taking up too much of my time. You know,
they threw it out,
and they're like, I can't deal with this anymore. It's messing up my whole relationships.
Right.
My family. I never see my family anymore. I've just gotten too obsessed with this thing. I got to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And then somebody else is like, ooh, I wonder what this is.
Yeah.
It's like the curse has fallen to you now.
Exactly. So that's a Kickstarter going on right now.
Yeah. Has Ian read that book? No, because it just came out.
So probably not. Ask again in a few weeks. Maybe ask Ian. He'd know best.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I get to play a new video game soon.
Yeah.
What game?
I don't know, but anything, because I got all the endings of Silksong last night.
Oh, I see. Nice.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Not all at once. She didn't get them all at the same time.
No, I got 3 of them pretty close together, though. So I got 2 of them at once because I got the secret mushroom ending.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Secret mushroom ending.
Yeah, you have to work really hard for the Mr. Mushroom ending in this game. That platforming took me ages.
Well, okay then. Thanks everybody for joining us on this ChillPoint. If you haven't seen the episode of Checkpoint that we talked about, you can do that over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LRRVG. It's our video game channel. You can also become a member of that channel, and you'll get your name in the credits at the end. I'm happy to say...
Of Checkpoint,
Of Checkpoint, yes. I'm happy to say that I actually had to modify the template for the credits that we put at the end because people's names were... there are too many names. It dropped off the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, so we shifted it up a little.
It's like I can either make it scroll or we can like give them a little more space. So we did that. So it's got more, the names have a little more space now, but that's great. Always good to have, always appreciate having a formatting issue because there are too many names. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us in all the ways that you do. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, store.loadingreadyrun.com to check out the merch there and everything else. But for now, we will talk to all y'all later. Goodbye.